So OG here has the OG Xbox, or the original Xbox, but one issue we have is the controllers don't have a lot of distance and won't make it all the way to our matrix switch made by O-Ray as well. But O-Ray has this other product, this TOVI or 2IP. Basically, it's HDMI encoder using PoE Ethernet, goes back to our switch, encodes the HDMI through our existing Ethernet down to a decoder without any special wiring or other things except for the encoder and the decoder. So using HDMI pass-through so we can see it on this TV, and then we'll jump over to the other TV and show you it there. So in the other bedroom, we've got the decoder, which is also using Ethernet from our UniFi switch. Regular Ethernet cabling runs straight to the switch, picks up this signal from the encoder, got it set to 001, HDMI out from there, and then we've got it plugged into the TV. We can do all of our OG Xbox gaming right here without needing to run any other cabling or whatever, straight from the OG Xbox across the hallway. So in this video, we're going to be checking out the O-Ray 2VI or TOVI. Basically, it's HDMI over IP. Now, if you remember in a previous video, OG and I did some gaming setup stuff where we used that 4x4 HDMI, was 4 inputs, 4 outputs. You could split stuff around and do everything. But then a lot of people had issues was, hey, maybe I cannot, I don't have dedicated Ethernet that I can, run to the TV that can use just for those decoders. Well, this is where this comes into play, is you can just do HDMI over your existing Ethernet IP network in your home. So let's jump into the actual hardware itself. It's pretty damn slick. I've been enjoying it. These are the 1080p ones. And I did some video wall stuff and connected it up, pretty slick there. So for the encoder, it's just a simple box. Of course, got HDMI in and out, so it's like a pass-through so you can see it up on the screen. This is the full 1080. Just have it coming out of a little nook right here running Windows. And since this is the encoder with the KVM option, you can also have the USB host as well, which will show is you can plug it straight into here, and that way you can do the decoder using the mouse and keyboard as well. Now, once you encode it, whether you do it from a game machine, you do it from a streamer or whatever, we'll bring it on down to the decoders. Now, on our little test desk here, I've got my TV mounted on the wall, and I've got 2 temporary screens I borrowed from other computers, and we just have the 3 decoders right here. This one is the one you can plug in a mouse and keyboard, and then you've got your standard decoders right here, and you will notice they are power over Ethernet. So you just need to plug in Ethernet, go straight to your network switch. You got HDMI out on this to go straight to the screen. Now, if you don't have power over Ethernet, you can use 12-volt power right here on the little accessory jack. So pretty cool there. Then you've got the buttons on the front. You can change the channel. These are all going to be as 001. You can see they're in a video wall configuration, except I don't have the 4th one, or I guess that would be the 2nd one over here. So it's set up doing 1, 2, 3, and 4 for a 2x2 video wall like you see in a bar. So one thing I did want to find out is, will it work with protected content? And yes, I do actually have a Roku right here playing Prime Video, playing Fallout. Great series if you haven't watched. I think they even have it free on YouTube for a limited time. So, but if you get Prime, check it out. Cool little series. This one is the actual pass-through right now, and then it's feeding a decoder to this screen and a decoder to that screen. So yeah, pretty cool that it works with protected content, straight using the encoders and decoders in the home. Basically, the system is rather simple. You've got these encoders, and the encoder is basically this simple box. It's power over Ethernet, or you can use the 12-volt adapter. And yes, the 12-volt adapter is included in the box. Now, on this particular model is just going to be the lesser version. They call it the X1 series, X1H ETX, and it has HDMI input, and there's no HDMI output. So keep in mind when you're purchasing this, and I'll show you the other encoder, and then you've got your audio input in and out, plus your serial to control stuff with. But I suspect most people are just going to be using Ethernet and HDMI. Now, where one thing is different is with the other model encoder, you can see it's a little bit bigger box. You also get infrared in and out, so you can do like that IR blaster thing, and then you get HDMI out and HDMI in, so you can do pass-through stuff. What's really great is, say for instance you just wanted to put a gaming box in one room, you could have HDMI pass out to that TV, and then you could do a decoder in the other room and use your wireless controllers in the next room over, all over your existing Ethernet cabling you already have. Now, you do get power over Ethernet again. If you don't have power over Ethernet, just have Ethernet, then use the power adapter, no big deal. On the front of the box, that's where things are a little bit different, is you get the USB host as well. So if you want to do KVM, which means, keyboard video monitor, where if you could plug in, this is the encoder, so you could plug in this cable, tag it over to, say, a NUC or a computer, say a Blue Iris box or some other computer you shoved off in the corner, and then you can control it with a mouse and keyboard across the house over Ethernet. How slick is that? Then you get your USB ports here, and these are just buttons to change the channel number for the encoder and decoder that each one is on. So same thing on the other encoder. You can see the difference is this one also has the numbers, and then it has the buttons to change there, and you can change that on the GUI as well. So then on the decoder side, this basically is what would go for your receiver. This would be, say if your gaming room had your Xbox or something, or streamer or whatever it is, and then this would be, say, in your living room or master bedroom, where you just want to receive that signal from, then you would set which channel the encoder, too many encoder decoders, is what channel you'd want to pick up on. So of course, if you had multiple encoders, you could set this to view, a duplicate output on another encoder if you wanted to. And then on the back, same deal, you get power over Ethernet, and then you get power adapter if you don't have power over Ethernet, just Ethernet. And then this HDMI out to one of your inputs on your TV. Now, the bigger boy on the decoder, same kind of deal on that, except you don't have USB in, you've got USB out, so then you can plug in, let's say, your mouse and keyboard here. If you're doing a computer KVM deal, that's not required. You set your channels, and then on the back, since this is just the decoder, you're going to get HDMI out, and then of course you get infrared blaster two-way deal, and then you get power over Ethernet and power again. So pretty simple setup. I'll show you the kind of the topology of that, but then there's one other box I really say you need, is because if you want to change any of the settings or do video wall things, you really need the network hub. And the network hub is kind of just the brains of things. There's nothing on the front of it except, I guess, some power and status lights, but on the back of it you can do two different networks if you want here, but I just did one network. It is power over Ethernet box again, but you can power it. But basically, this is the box that controls all the settings for all the encoder decoders. So then you can do Telnet, SSH, you get Web GUI that'll control all of these boxes. And if you want to change what channels they are on, or the video wall settings, that's all done on the GUI of the network hub itself. Pretty simple little setup. I'll go into the web screens after this setup. So the really simple thing is not a crazy topology. So as much as, say, for instance, that if you wanted to do one simple encoder and one simple decoder, is you would simply connect this up to whatever box or streaming deal you'd want to set up to, and then this is to your existing network switch, whether it be power over Ethernet or not, or say you've got a switch in one room and then it goes to another switch in another room and then it goes to whatever, another room, you got switches branched off to each other. Sure, it should work fine on the same network, same IP range, should have no issues there. I've done across multiple switches as well. You just simply plug in the Ethernet cable, and then same thing for the decoder. In the next room, plug in your Ethernet cable, set up your HDMI switches, and you're rocking and rolling. There's no like having to run HDMI in the wall or Ethernet and everything, as long as you just use your existing Ethernet stuff you have and have enough ports. And of course, you don't have enough ports in one room, you could just add a switch. Now, one thing I do wish that they had on the decoder, say this bigger one, I wish they had, would be kind of neat if they had an Ethernet out. So say if you already just had one Ethernet port, running to that TV, you could still do Ethernet out to that TV and be the good, Wi-Fi data steward and not have a bunch of Wi-Fi stuff. But, that's just here me being picky. So it's a pretty cool system of how it is. So the network control hub it shows like all of your encoders. You've got your decoders. Here's the 3 decoders that I have on my network right now. And then, of course, you can jump into and see all the different settings and change those. You can even see a little preview that changes. It's a really horrible frame rate, but it's really just meant to take a look at things and adjust as you need. There's tons of settings in here. I will not go through all of them because there's just a lot. So it depends on the box that you are, looking at. Some of them have the IR, some don't, depending on like the KVM. It's all in here. It's pretty awesome. And then where you want to do is say like here's the matrix I've got in one encoder. I guess because I have them in video wall, there's not showing a decoder right now. So the video wall right here is basically you create a wall and say, hey, I want to do 2 rows and then 2 rows down. And I only have 3 right now, 3 screens, but then you can assign what order you want those decoders in. And it just makes it's pretty damn awesome how it does it and pretty slick. Now, you do also get all the different other settings from like users, you get controller settings. Of course, you get Telnet, SSH, so you can control anything and everything about the encoders and decoders over the network, or you could do it with the RS-232 old school serial port. Plus, you can go in here and do your firmware updates. I know it looks kind of funky because I did zoom it in a little bit, but yeah, you really need the network hub to be able to do things and just control everything with your network. So that about do it for this one. I do appreciate O-Ray sending this for review. Especially it's the cool little system of being able to solve a lot of the issues with HDMI around the house and changing things and pushing, video and audio and computer stuff around without having to rerun a bunch of bulky HDMI or fiber optic or whatever it is using your existing Ethernet. So pretty awesome there. If you want to check out this system, you can find all the links down below in the description. And if you've got some other weird setups, if you've done some cool stuff of pushing gaming video around, definitely let me know down below. I'd love to check out how you're doing things. And that'll about do it for this one. I appreciate you watching. Press all them buttons and y'all take care.